Good morning, dear students. Welcome to SST class. How are you all? Definitely you all are fit, fine and fresh. I hope you all have enjoyed your summer vacation. Now it's time to get back to academics. So let's start. My dear students, for the next few days we will do some revision work. Means we will revise the chapter ones that we have already completed. In SST, we have covered History chapter 1, Geography chapter 1, Civics chapter 1 and History and Geography chapter 2 both. So, we will revise this chapter again. Let's start with History chapter 1. Before starting the chapter, we have to know what is history. History tells about our past. History is a journey across time. History means study or investigation of past. Okay, the term history is derived from the Greek word historia. Historia means an inquiry to find out the truth. The word history was first used by Herodotus, who was a Greek historian. Now, why should we study history? To know about our past, what happened in our past thousands and thousands years ago. To know about all this, we have to study history. So let's find out the answers. It gives us knowledge about our ancestors. It throws light on the life of the kings, great warriors and common people. It tells us how languages come into existence. For this reason, we have to study history. Now, let's start with the chapter. The name of the chapter is What, Where, How and When. Our chapters start with these 4 questions: what, where, how and when. Gradually we will know all the answers. Okay. Now this chapter starts with Rasida's question. What is her question? Her question is, how could anyone know what had happened so many years ago? Actually, she wants to know how do you find about what happened in our past. Okay, to give answer Rasida's question, we have to read and we have to understand the chapter. So, have a look. What are the topics of this chapter? Okay, what we are going to read in this chapter. When we clarify this point, we will get back to the Rasida's question and we will give the answer to the Rasida's question. Have a look. First topic is, what can we know about the past? Where did people live? Movement of the people. Name of the land. Finding out about the past. Different pasts. What do dates mean? These are the main topics which we will cover in this chapter. First topic of the chapter. What can we know about the past? What we want to know about the past? We want to know about the food of early people, about their clothes, about their houses, what type of or which type of games they played, about their lives, how they lived their life. We want to know everything, and history gives us light about this point. Next topic of the chapter is, where did people live? People lived along the banks of the river. Why? Because they need water for their existence, for transportation, for fertile soil, for farming. They need water. Some of the people lived near forest as they were skilled hunter-gatherer. Sometimes they lived near forest because they were hunter, they hunted animals and they were gatherers. They gathered forest product like fruits, vegetables, roots, leaves, etc. people lived as settled agriculturists. Areas such as Suleiman, Kirtar, Garo Hills to the northeast and Vindhyas in the central India. These are some places where agriculture developed very much. In Suleiman and Kirtar Hills, men first began to grow crops such as wheat and barley almost 8,000 years ago. Okay, and rearing animals also began at that time. Rice was first grown to the north of the Vindhyas. To the north of the Vindhyas, rice was first grown. About 4,700 years ago, some of the earliest cities flourished on the bank of river Indus, like Harappa, Mohenjo-daro. Okay. Later, about 2,500 years ago, cities developed on the bank of river Ganga. Area south to the river Ganga was known as Magadha. Now, it is lying in the state of Bihar. It was a very big kingdom at that time, Magadha. Now it is lying in the state of Bihar. Our next topic is movement of the people. Since past, people traveled from one part of the subcontinent to another, from north to south, from east to west. Throughout the subcontinent, people traveled. But why? Why they traveled? There are some reasons. In search of livelihood, means in search of water, in search of food, like animals or fruits, vegetables, to escape from natural disaster like floods, drought. When flood, drought occurred in any place, people had to move from that place. Movement of armies conquering another land. People want to conquer another land, that's why they had to move. Religious teachers walked from village to village, town to town, propagating religious messages. They spread religious messages. That's why they had to travel. Movement for adventure. People want to explore new places. That's why they had to move from one place to another place. What are the importance of this movement? What is the importance or what are the importance of this movement? All of this travel led to sharing of ideas between people. All of this movement led to sharing of ideas between people. Okay. Our next topic is names of the land. Two words often used for our country. One is India and another one is Bharat. India word came from the word Indus, which is called Sindhu in Sanskrit. When Iranis and Greek came and lived along the river or along the bank of river Indus, they generally called it Hindus or Indus. Their pronunciation was different. They called it Hindus or Indus. From this term, Indus came. And from Indus, India came. Land to the east of the river Indus was called India. That was our country. And second term is Bharat. It was used for a group of people who lived in the northwest. They used this term Bharat. The name Bharat is mentioned in Rig Veda, approx 3,500 years ago. Next topic is finding out about the past. How can you find out about the past? There are two major sources. They tell us about our past, about our history. They are manuscripts and inscription. These two are major sources. What is manuscripts? They are books which were written long ago. They are handwritten actually. Manuscript word come from Latin word manu, which means hand. Okay, that's why they are handwritten books. They were usually written on palm leaf and on bark of a tree called birch. What are inscription? Another source of history is inscription, which means writing engraved on rocks. What is engraved? It means carving or cut words in hard surface. This means inscription tell us about the orders of kings, lives of the people, maybe king or maybe common people or farmers or headers, and records of victories in battles. All, each and everything recorded as inscription. There are some other sources also except inscriptions and manuscript. What are they? They are remains of buildings, painting and sculpture, tools, weapons, pots, pan, ornaments and coins. These all are also major sources which tells us about our history, about our past. Our next topic is one past or many. Students, have you noticed the name of our history book? It is Our Past. Our Pasts. Why it is in plural form? Do you remember? In our previous video, we have explained it. Because it wants to draw attention to the fact that the past was different for different people. For example, the lives of farmer was different from the lives of king. Each and everyone past is different from another people. That's why the name of our book is Our Pasts. Our next topic is what do dates mean? Historian express time in history by two terms. One is BC and another one is AD. The full form of BC is before Christ and AD stands for Anno Domini. The birth of Christ is the focal point which we count, from which actually we count the date. Okay, and it is taken at 0 years. BC years are counted backwards and AD years are counted forward. Okay. For example, if we say Alexander invaded India in 326 BC, it simply means that the invasion made by Alexander took place 326 years before the birth of Christ. And if we refer the year 1920 AD, it means that the year occurred 1922 years after the birth of Christ. Isn't it? I think this point is clear to you. What do dates means? Here we ended the chapter. Read the chapter once again and learn the exercises of this chapter and practice well. Next day we will do Geography chapter 1 revision. Okay? Thank you.